I'm Herman Martinez. I live here in Alamosa, Colorado, and I've been associated with the public schools for the past 40 years. I'm a retired educational administrator. I've worked in higher education, public schools, early childhood, in that order. Started working with teenagers who were aspiring to go to college back in the 70s. Worked in the public schools as a teacher and administrator in the 80s and 90s, and worked in early childhood education the last part of my working career. At this time I'm associated with Hilos Culturales, Cultural Threads. It's a Colorado nonprofit, and collaborate with a group of organizations throughout the region, the Upper Rio Grande region, primarily from Albuquerque through the suburbs of Denver and many places in between, working with artists, historians, anthropologists, folklorists, practitioners in music and dance, ritual music artists, also poets, weavers, wood carvers, and completed a film documentary on those topics and with those individuals, culminating the first annual Hilos Summer Institute held for Adams State College faculty and staff in San Luis in 2012, and have been doing that over the last 3 years. We work diligently to create materials and establish workshops, classes, utilizing the best of the authors of the region, the interpreters of the traditions of the native pueblos along the Rio Grande, and the native families who settled here about 250 years ago. So we utilize that as our canvas, as our route for establishing educational programs, educational materials, and we do concerts, as I mentioned, lecture demonstrations, classes, and the Summer Institute. And that's primarily where my work has generated over the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of this work my wife Patricia and I have done over the last 40 to 45 years, but usually after 5 o'clock. So that was kind of our passion after work, to work with communities, work with youth, work with their families on special projects. For 19 years we directed Semillas de la Tierra and El Conjunto Nuevo Aztlán here at Adams State University. Again, in the evenings, working with students who wanted to learn more about Mexican music and Mexican folk dance. We were able to generate the offering into a credit-bearing course from freshman through graduate studies. We're a heavy performing group. We traveled throughout the region, particularly on weekends, but we were always in schools. We were sponsored by institutions, many of them institutions of higher learning, and we're able to portray the cultural roots of the native traditions of Mexico all the way into North America. And we've done that, as I mentioned, through music and dance. We've published some materials that coincide with those years. We have a lot of photo documentary. We have artwork that has coincided with that. And again, collaborating with many individuals, many educators, many community organizers, people who love the arts, in this case the cultural performing arts. And we have always worked hard to try and bring out the positive in youth, the artistic element, the genius, in terms of the music, the poetic verse, and naturally the movement and the expression through dance and the music. That has been our work in a capsule. We've raised our children in the process, traveled with us, did practices on the ASU campus as they were growing up, and traveling with us on weekends at performances and during the summer at conferences. I might mention also that in 1974, my wife Patricia and I, through an initiative here at Adams State, el Grupo Folclórico Semillas de la Tierra, and the musical group, which is el Conjunto Nuevo Aztlán, Semillas is the dance component. We founded an association that brought together groups of individuals, primarily from universities, but also from community organizations, some schools, public schools, and every summer began hosting dance and music festivals. That eventually became an international exchange opportunity for students, in particular students who attended Adams State University in the 70s and 80s, to work with some of the prominent music and dance instructors from throughout Mexico. We worked diligently in coordinating working arrangements with cultural centers, Casas de la Cultura, and universities throughout Mexico, and working with faculty members to bring them to our campuses here in the United States every summer, and or taking them on site to a university or a cultural center in Mexico. So we had that opportunity at that time. Again, really working hard to develop more materials, make it more of a learning and challenging experience for students who, again, were partaking in music and dance, the folk expressions of Middle America and the Southwest. And this summer we opened the 41st conference that was being hosted at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. Patricia and I were opening conference speakers, carrying on that tradition, and that association continues today. Years ago we founded a group called the Guadalupe Dancers in Pueblo when we first left Adams State, and that group continues today, and Semillas de la Tierra still continues working with students here at Adams State University. I think it's the 45th year coming up. I think my engagement in the arts was through osmosis, growing up amongst relatives in a small village north of Alamosa. It's called Los Sauces. It's a little farming hamlet where the Conejos River and the Rio Grande River meet. Many of my mother's family settled there generations ago, and everything that I assumed as a young lad was in Spanish. I learned to speak Spanish, grew up speaking Spanish. I thought in Spanish, I dreamt in Spanish, and along with the language came the customs, the traditions, many of the expressions of celebration, whether it would be at a church function or a community function. Oftentimes it's just a family hosting an event, a birthday. There was always music, always the fiddle and the guitar that accompanied individuals who wanted to dance. And a lot of that just was instilled in me growing up. I had the opportunity as a senior at Adams State University years ago. I failed to mention my wife Patricia and I are alumnuses of the university, and I got to study abroad. And with that experience, I again was engulfed in the beautiful traditions of a very rich land culture emanating out of the various regions of Mexico. I had that exposure, and luckily I was able to bring a lot of that in this direction later on through our association, bringing instructors, historians, artisans, because we always emphasized the folk arts in our conferences from a particular region. And Mexico's unique because it's like Europe. You cross one region or one distance, in this case one state, and the traditions just vary from one to the other, just like you would see the differences between France and Italy. That's how Mexico is, and remained that way for decades because of land separations through mountains, rivers, distances, deserts. Customs and traditions were very unique, and the languages were all distinct and very unique. So just rich association of traditions through language, music, dance, various customs, and practices. Let me just share a couple of things in terms of art, and it'll be more expressive, but I have... And this gentleman, and I'll show you his book in a minute, Emmanuel Martinez, created this symbol, and it was the symbol of the mestizo, the creation of a new cosmic race in the Americas when the Españoles of Europe intermarried with the natives of Middle America, creating the mestizo, the offspring. And Emmanuel Martinez did that, and he uses one symbol of the native parent and the European parent, and then the mestizo, the offspring. Yeah. He used that mestizo symbol in a lot of his art, and here's an example of that. And again, the native parent, the European parent, and the mestizo, the offspring.
That's really cool.
I think he uses it here somewhere else. Maybe that was the one I was going to show you. Here's another example. Just a lot of interpretive mosaic with muralism. And that's him at work there.
That's awesome.
I also wanted... There were four main, I don't know if you would call them celebrities. At that time they weren't celebrities, but highly recognized individuals. One of them was Rodolfo Corky Gonzalez from Denver. The other one was Cesar Chavez that we talked about also, from Delano, California. There was Jose Angel Gutierrez from Crystal City, Texas. And the fourth one was Reyes Lopez Tijerina. I don't know if you spoke or studied Reyes. Those four individuals were, you know, just great figureheads. They were leaders. They had many leadership traits. They were great orators. They were great writers and could express themselves that way. And they're very charismatic. And I was fortunate to be able to meet and associate with those individuals. And looking back, you know, that really gave me a lot of assurance that I was engaged in my community, in society, in my life at that time. And that was so important. And I think it's contributed to my participating in a lot of that work and a lot of those efforts through education as my career continued and continues. So again, there are great mentors out there that need to be sought out, and some are, you know, are not high profile like these individuals became. There are many unsung heroes out there that work daily, you know, work hard, and always look for positive change. Always look for ways to make an impact, positive impact in their communities, in their schools, and their families, and it's unlimited. They're out there. And we need to search for them because, again, they're there and it's our life. We need to search for them. We need to engage with them. We need to showcase them and again, just respect them.